Hi, guys. Welcome to the sixth episode of This Is Not News. I'm your host, Jai, and today on the episode, we have Dan from Dan's Tube TV, Metaminds. He's a qualified counsellor, and he's got a clothing label called Eye in the Sky Clothing. This was a really great chat with Dan. We have very similar outlooks on life and how we sort of look at things. It was really great to hear what he's doing at the moment to sort of help him get through this and maybe some tips for some other people as well. So let's just get straight into this one, guys, and I hope you really enjoy this episode. All right, mate. Well, how are you? How you been?
I've been pretty good, man, considering what's been going on. Yeah, I've been in high hopes.
High hopes. Positive as always.
Yeah, trying to be. I'm just being grateful, practicing gratitude. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty much the same, mate. Pretty similar. I know we've sort of got similar attitudes towards that kind of stuff. We've spoken about it before. You've been on my podcast, so yeah, I knew that we'd probably both have similar feelings at this stage. But yeah, that's good to hear. I think we might start. I've been starting these and letting everyone else introduce themselves. So if you can just tell us who you are, what you do with yourself, and where you are.
Okay. I'm based in Australia, in Brisbane. I'm a fully qualified counsellor, just finished my Master of Counselling and registered with the Australian Counselling Association. Professionally, I work as a support worker, a mental health support worker, working with clients in a face-to-face capacity. I also run a YouTube channel called danstube.tv, and I'm the co-host of the Metaminds podcast with Eamon. And I also run a clothing brand called I'm the
Oh,
Sky Clothing.
I always forget about the clothing brand. Yeah, the eye and the drone clothing, right? Drone
Yeah,
based. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Cool. How's that going anyway? Like, how's that all
It's good,
stuff going?
man. Yeah, I've actually been kind of scheming on a few different ideas. Been listening to a lot of audiobooks, and there's an audiobook by Pat Flynn called Superfans, and it's actually how you can develop superfans within your audience. And one of the big key points that he made was like actually have your audience involved in the process.
Yeah,
So for my next design that I release, I'm actually going to do two designs side by side and get my audience to decide what design they want to come next. And then based on their comment, I'm actually going to give an unreleased product to them, so I can
yeah,
kind of keep them in that loop of like exclusivity, I guess. So yeah, that's exciting. A few other ideas kind of brewing to do with it, but it's fun. It's a fun little kind of experiment, I guess, selling products. But I'm just trying to build a brand and give people quality products. Really, that's the intention.
yeah. That's it. It's interesting you mentioned that book because one of the guys in the previous podcast mentioned that book as a recommendation of like something to read. So I definitely have to get that one. Did you say it's on audiobook?
Seriously, yeah. I've got it on Audible. We're talking about Super Fans by Pat Flip.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
Cool.
really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's been going on for you lately? Like what how has this thing affected you lately? Anything changed in your life? Anything going different for you?
Well, in terms of like my job as a support worker, I'm still seen as an essential at the moment. So the business I work for, a lot of them are actually working from home.
Mhm.
But for me personally, I'm still on the ground as such, working with clients in a face-to-face capacity. Um, One thing I did like notice significantly was as things started ramping up in Australia and as people started becoming more cautious and then taking the whole pandemic a little bit more seriously, I noticed like an energy shift one of the weeks after a few announcements came through, just in the way that people were kind of looking at each other, the spacing between people, the way that I even felt with everyone in my life, like just talking about things, everything just felt a little different. So I noticed that, but in terms of like day to day, nothing has like changed too much. The work's kind of dried up at the moment. I was looking for a counselling job. So that kind of work has dried up a little bit just because they're trying to make it more remote counselling. But yeah, that's kind of shifted a little bit. The way that I guess I am at work, like I wear a mask now where I'm driving,
Yep,
and that was just something I put in place because I'm sitting so close to a client.
yep.
Yeah, overall it's odd because I haven't. There's really been no one in my immediate world who's been like directly affected by it. Like, yes, the economy's been affected, people have lost their jobs, but I still don't know anyone who's been infected by it. So in terms
Yep.
of that, like it's still a little bit of confusion, I guess. Like you go about your everyday life and you'll kind of forget about it for a little bit, and then it will come back and go, oh wait, like that major thing is happening everywhere. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Things are kind of odd, I guess.
I suppose it's changed a little bit of like going out and stuff. I know that you and Eamon used to go to the gym quite regularly. You
Mm.
probably can't do that anymore. And you just said you went for a walk before, so more walks. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, for sure. The other day, Eamon and I recorded 2 podcasts together. We had to cancel a lot of our guests just for safety reasons and whatnot. We're still doing the live episodes, but Eamon and I did a few, just him and I. And then after that, we actually did a workout in the backyard with some weights. So that was the first time I've actually properly worked out in like 3 weeks since the gyms have all been shut. So yeah, I've just been trying to go for walks and just do like core really in the backyard and a few like squats and lunges and whatnot, push ups, planks. But
Yep.
yeah, it's definitely changed that. I definitely do miss the gym, which I'm sure there's other people out there like gym junkies who would be struggling right now.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's tried to go out and buy, home gym equipment, and it's just
Mm,
that was the next hoarding thing. Everyone wanted dumbbells and all that kind of stuff. So,
it's
it's
hard to get.
interesting. It's interesting to see, like the things that people end up really wanting when when you have to isolate and stay home. Like what are things that everyone wants, and it turns out that gym equipment is super valuable these days.
Mm, yeah, it's hard to get your hands on. I've
Yeah,
done a little search on eBay to try to get a few things through, but most of them are sold out. Most of them there's delays or they're postponed or the seller's not even available. So yeah, that's kind of something I was not prepared for. I did not have that in mind. But
yeah,
the thing I have really missed in terms of like in Australia, just for context for people listening, like we aren't fully in lockdown right now. So like we have rules in place where we should really be staying at home unless there's essential needs for like groceries or to work or whatever it may be. But I've been really mindful of that, and I haven't really been seeing too many friends. Like I've been isolating more than usual, and over the last couple of maybe months, I guess, I've really recognized that I thought I was more introverted, but I've actually noticed that I actually get a lot of energy from talking to people, and like I'm extroverted in that regard, where I
yep.
really need to talk to people and see people. So that's something I've really missed actually. Like it's something that it's been hard to get used to.
Yeah, you don't realize it until it's sort of gone, do you? Like, it
Mm,
was just always be like, "Oh, no, I don't need to go out. Like, I'll stay at the studio doing music or whatever." And then now it's like, "Oh man, I really want to go out and just see people and, go to people's places and stuff." But
mm,
trying to do the right thing, trying to stay home and not go out and, visit people all the time.
yeah,
So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? A different
it is.
dynamic.
Yeah. What kind of things have you noticed on your end?
Well, just I think it's just interesting the way people like if you go to the shops for stuff and you see people like just a little bit just the way we walk around and stuff now, people sort of wait for people to move to one side or different things like that. So I think just the way, like you said, we interact physically with each other has sort of changed a little bit.
Mm,
Because I work at a school, it was interesting at the school. We're quite vigilant because we knew there was still so many people coming and going at the school when it was still open. So we were, quite on top of that because we were coming in contact with people all the time. So we really had to sort of, you know, um, try and do our best to social distance and also to like, teach the kids almost, like you have to lead by example at a school. So, we really tried to do the right thing in terms of the social distancing so that the kids would see and sort of, pick up on it and try and do the same. So,
mm, mm,
yeah, it's been interesting, but I'm still going to work physically, like I'm not working from home. So it's been interesting that in that way, but I think it's also been interesting what's happened online a lot, like a lot of the social media and just seeing a lot of people I don't know, like lots of I suppose people have a lot of time on their hands online, but lots of conspiracy theory stuff and I'm seeing lots of that. And I think it might just be because people have a lot of time and not much to do.
mm.
Have you noticed anything online like interesting at all?
Yeah, I noticed it like so when I got back from Vietnam at the beginning of the year. That was as it was just kind of starting to ramp up and things were starting to get a bit more serious.
Yep.
And yeah, around that time, like there were a lot of things popping up just to do with conspiracies about what was actually happening, uh, and potential kind of technology that was coming through that was causing this. Like there were rumors about the 5G that was coming through that was being tested, and like all these like really outlandish kind of claims from a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I saw that quite a lot, but I actually really tried to make the conscious decision to get away from a lot of that media. Like I sort of try to educate myself there, and obviously my workplace tells me what's happening. But I found myself just you can't avoid it. Like I'd go on YouTube, there'd be breaking news. You'd go on Twitter, it'd be breaking news. Like there was literally no way to avoid it unless you were like you put your phone away, you didn't have the TV on, and you didn't have any access to the internet at all.
Yeah.
So like when I'm editing, for example, like that's a nice kind of break away from it, or going for a walk. I try my hardest to take a break from it. But yeah, it's interesting to see how the media have obviously latched onto it, and that's all that's documented right now. And one thing that annoys me more than anything, me being so positive, is where's the positive news? You know, like
Yeah.
they talk about how many people have died, but what about all the people that have recovered? Like, where's the
Yeah.
hope? Why are we not instilling hope into people? That's how, resilience is developed. So to me, that blows my mind. But again, like, it kind of makes sense because media works on fear. Like they're trying to get
Yeah.
people fearful and get people worried. So it's got a place in terms of something like this where potentially a lot of people do need to know about this. And if people aren't consuming mainstream media, when I say mainstream, I'm talking like old school media, like
Yeah.
newspaper or TV or radio. If people aren't consuming that and they're consuming the new school media, it makes sense why we're seeing it everywhere because this message is obviously trying to get passed on to everyone. And I'm seeing it more on bus shelters. I'm seeing it on TVs when you're out in public. Like in terms of just educating people on what's happening, I've been kind of impressed by that. But again, like you can't avoid it at all. Like it's
Yeah.
just in your face everywhere.
Yeah, and like everyone's sharing new stories, and I just found it like for a little while a bit of a vicious cycle. Like you're scrolling through and you see a story and you read it, and then you go, "Oh, I wonder what is there anything new that's come out? You know, is there any new
Mm,
news about it?" And then you're looking for more news, and people are sharing things, and oh, that's not true, and this is that's a lie. But it's so hard. You sort of get stuck in it, and you just keep thinking, "Oh, what's new? What's next? Like, what's the next thing that's happening?"
yeah.
So yeah, I've sort of tried, and that's why I've loved doing this because I've got to speak to a lot of people who actually, a lot of creatives and a lot of people who sort of have a little bit of a different take on a lot of things. As creatives and stuff, I've spoken to a few people, and they're like, we're lucky we've got the opportunity to work on our music or our art or whatever it is we do. We can actually work on our stuff here, like in this time. But like, if you're someone who just has a retail job or some other job where you have to sort of physically be at your job to do it, you can't really do anything to progress that job or to work on that as a career kind of thing.
Mm,
So I've been talking to people, and we've sort of been talking pretty positively about a lot of things. Trying to speak about, oh, you've got time to take up that hobby you've never been able to do, or learn a new skill or something like that. And I've been really trying to push that a lot, but I've seen a bit of the other side of it as well, and I'd love to get your opinion on this because I've seen a lot of people say, it's okay if you don't, you don't have to learn a new hobby or learn a new skill or create anything. Just getting through is enough.
mm.
And I'm interested to hear. Like, I see both sides of it, but as someone myself who's positive and likes to try and do a lot of work and grind and that, I sort of feel we should be telling people that? I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you mentioned this because I've actually got a video that I'm going to be editing soon on my channel about, like, I've named it basically productivity hacks for people stuck at home. So it's not just focused on the pandemic, it can hopefully be timeless.
Yeah.
Um,
Love it. I love it.
but
Keep
like
going.
a lot of the things you just said, I 100% agree with. Now, I don't want to forget the fact that people are actually dying, people are actually being affected, and there are
Mm,
terrible things happening in the world that people are struggling with. And on top of that, the economy is really struggling and people are losing their jobs, right? So, in terms of people taking up a new skill, people, trying to learn a new skill or trying to get into a hobby or start a brand or whatever it may be. I think yes, 100%, but also we need to be sensitive to the fact that some people have just lost their jobs. So if we're to
mm,
then say to them, "Come on, we'll just start something now," like that's a little bit insensitive. So there's always like a balancing point there. But personally, I think if we go into lockdown for multiple weeks, for example, like you said, a lot of creatives are going to be relatively okay with that because we're going to have things to do at home. So I've already kind of got a plan in place if we go into lockdown, what kind of things I can work on at home for my business and how I can try to expand on that and make it maybe more sustainable working from home. Now, one thing I think that this will potentially change is how workplaces operate in the future. So if we
Definitely.
actually see remote workplaces operating sustainably because of something like this, there's no reason why this can't be the norm now. This is a social change and it's a shift. And people say, well, I worked 4 days from home and that was fine, and I got all my work done. You could then demand that with your boss when things start going back to normal. And I think that will actually change the environment of the workplace potentially. So that's for people who obviously have a job and who are sustainable and maybe work from home. But yeah, definitely. Like if you're still okay, if you have a bit more time, if for some reason you're still holding on to your job or the government's helping you out during this time, yes, this is like the perfect time to start learning an instrument or a skill. You can go online and pay for an online course. You could start consuming audiobooks or podcasts and start educating yourself, or you could even just start researching things that fascinate you. But I think a really important thing during this time is to try to swap the media that you consume, which is what you and I have spoken about on other podcasts in the past. But again, really good opportunity. Otherwise, you will get sucked into that vacuum that is the pandemic, and that's all you will be able to see. So it's a really good opportunity. But again, it really depends on your situation and where you are in life right now.
Yeah, definitely. I actually read something today that sort of put it in a bit of perspective for me. It was an article written by whoever I think she was the youngest girl to sail around the world in a boat.
Wow.
Just sail around, and she was giving tips on like when you're isolated, because she was isolated for months, didn't see anyone, so she gave tips, and I think one of the things that really sort of hit home for me was that she said you have to remember that you have a purpose, because if you forget that, then that's when you sort of get really down, and and you sort of your mental sort of your mindset really struggles. So that's what I think people probably, as bad as a lot of the things are that are going on, I fear that some people will forget they have a purpose, and that's why I think it's important to be trying to do things to better yourself. That's just when I read that, I sort of thought, I think that's what I'm sort of trying to get across to people, is that it's really terrible, and don't sit at home and just I keep saying, don't sit at home and just play PlayStation all day, or just drink and watch movies. Try and
Mhm.
find some kind of purpose or meaning, to better yourself or something like that. I don't know. I guess it's that positivity again that I have as well.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people, who have lost jobs and things, and they're really doing awesome stuff. I've seen one guy I know. He worked in the entertainment and music industry, and he's like, all right, I'm going to learn how to make like the 3D art on computers, like
Hmm.
rendered 3D graphic art, and he's making awesome stuff since he's started, so it's just things like that. I love seeing that, and I suppose that sort of speaks to my personality and what I've done in the past already, so
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, definitely. And I think I have noticed people like in my circle and also people I connect with online as well, who have they've gone through the tough times already. Because I've got friends overseas who they've gone through some really tough phases in their country where they're in lockdown, they've lost their job, they're really struggling financially, and there's like this grieving process where they were really struggling for a long time, and it kind of got to the point where they had no other real choice. Like they could kind of stay in that state of grieving and hating where they're at, which is completely valid considering what's happened.
yeah,
But after a period of time, it kind of got to a situation where these people were actually trying to look for things to learn or skills or things to keep them sane, right? Because how much pointless content can you consume while you're in lockdown until you're kind of like, maybe I should do something with my time? Like
yeah,
I'm watching cat videos, watching like pointless cake videos. Like I probably should do something with my time. That's probably just me. That's also my personality, and like a lot of creative people I connect with feel the same. And I guess it's hard for a lot of people to take that first leap. That's something I really recognize. Like I've been doing this for so long, it's really hard to take the first leap. And I can say how much easier it is now in the position I'm in after practicing for so long. And with anything you do in life, confidence is built through practice.
yeah.
So I want to say that as kind of a space for people to try to be vulnerable and try different things. But again, you've also got to recognize that it's hard. Like be gentle to yourself through the process. And Eamon and I actually did an episode. We weren't going to talk about the pandemic. We weren't going to talk about what was happening,
Yeah.
but we actually did an episode. It will be up in a few weeks, I think, and it's just called "The Silver Lining of the Pandemic." So we tried
Yeah.
to speak about the positives, things that are coming out of this. How, as like we've got this common enemy now. So 6 months ago, like there was potential talk of like World War III. Like, that was quite a common thing that was spoken about for like a couple of years now. And there was so many tensions building up between different countries. And now that we've got this enemy that's a shared enemy that we can't actually see, and we've got all different people, like we're starting to see all these different industries who we're seeing as essential now. Like previously, just working in a supermarket potentially was like, oh, you just work in a supermarket, whatever, it doesn't mean anything. You don't have to break that down and go, you're not doing anything. But a lot of people could associate that with like, oh, it's just a basic kind of job. But now it's like so important that we have people in the supermarket, and we need that. That's like an actual essential role in society. Same with healthcare professionals. And yeah, it's just interesting to kind of see things change. Like the economy is changing, but also society is changing. And I feel like maybe this shared goal, like we're all trying to beat this together, potentially has made the world feel a little bit closer, in my like subjective opinion of what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I love what one of my, I think the second guest art supplies said is he's really looking forward to the perspective change. Like
Mm,
after it's done, like, everyone will be so much more grateful for all these things that we have or have had. And he's really excited to see how far we can take that. Like how long can we keep that going when we do get it all back? Is it going to last a month, or a week, or will it be a year or 2 years, or can we take it even further?
mm,
So I think that's really exciting. Like you said, a silver lining,
mm.
or something that can, we can look forward to. But I definitely agree. There's that whole grieving process, and it is a process that you have to go through before you can probably, um, you know, try and find the positives, because people have lost jobs and things like that. So I think it is important for that process. But I'm always looking for that next thing. How we can improve, or it's a great time to do a lot of self improvement sort of stuff and looking inwards, I guess, which is a lot of what your podcast is about. Um, is there anything that you can maybe give people maybe some advice, or if they want to maybe work on themselves a bit, meditation or anything, any good resources or anything you could recommend?
Yeah. So, like I said before, I think it's imperative that you swap the content you're consuming. So, if you can try to find a podcast or an audio book that you really align with and resonate with, again, it doesn't have to be like business related. It doesn't have to be anything in particular.
Yeah.
It can be just a storytelling piece. But if it's something that is actually like maybe bringing out passion in you or excitement or something that's new, and like novelty is such a key thing that we're all kind of seeking. And I guess if we're going into lockdown, novelty will get like that will disappear very quickly if we do the same things over and over again, and we're going to get bored very quickly.
Yeah.
So I think definitely make sure that you try to align with podcasts, for example. Like audiobooks are great, but again, there's a monetary situation there. So if you don't have a job, maybe not ideal. But podcasts are free, so there's no excuse why you can't try different podcasts. I think one thing that I really love the concept of that I put into this little video that I'll be uploading. It's something I haven't been able to practice fully yet. Like this is kind of an example of what I'm going to talk about. But I think it's something I really want to hold on to if we do go into lockdown, is the idea that every single week you have an accountability check with either just one other friend or a group of friends, and you have each other call through a Zoom call or a Skype call or Google
I thought
Hangout.
about this today, man.
It'd be
I
so good,
literally
right?
thought about making like a little group, a small group, 5, 10 people max. And you sort of, you're checking on each other a day or every week to see what did you do this week? Like, what did you accomplish? Just to hold each other accountable. Exactly what you just said.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's crazy.
I think that's good. It's going to be really important for people who start feeling more and more isolated. Because,
Yeah.
like I said before, I noticed like a dip in my energy because I haven't been able to see people as much as I usually do who do inspire me, or I talk ideas through. So for me, like I've noticed that shift, but like it's a psychological, like a primal urge that we all have as humans to feel like we are belonging to something and that we're connected. So I think you can text, that's fine, but you just don't get enough. Like there's not a
Yeah.
physical, you're not swapping energy. You're not talking to someone and you
Yeah.
see what they're reacting to. So I
Yeah.
think like an accountability check or accountability buddy is really important during these times, especially also just to check up on friends. Like I've got friends who have lost jobs, and I've told them, like, if you ever need to talk to me, just call me or video call me, man. Like,
Mm.
we need to like stay together and stick together during this tough time, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to feel extremely isolated, and yeah, that no one wants that. So I think that's a really important thing. Like just friends or family, whoever it is, or just randoms. If you can find a group, there's so many Facebook groups out there, so many groups that share similar interests. And I've noticed a lot of them have now started doing live meetups, and they've started doing, like, there's a lot of men's groups, like Lockie Stewart, who we had on the podcast. He's doing that.
Yep.
Blokopedia, who we had on recently. That both of them are quite like male focused, but there's so many out there for women as well, and everyone really. So yeah, there's so many options. I think that's just so important to stay connected, especially when we're in isolation.
Yeah, that's like the Friday knockoffs that I do. It's just drinks. People. Not everyone drinks, but just hanging out, having chats.
Mm,
I've met heaps of new people that I haven't met, or people that I've maybe had friends on Facebook, and we've never spoken face to face. Well, now we have.
yeah.
And even though and where it's something that it's sort of brought a group of people, and we have like 20 people at one time in a room just
Mm.
talking, and it gets crazy sometimes, and and some of the topics get wild, but we don't talk about the pandemic at all. We just hang out, we just talk about whatever. We have little fun things we do. We give out awards for things for the after it's all done. Like I've got to put up, we did show and tell this week, so it was like everyone bring just something to show and and talk about, and we'll all go through and do it. So I'm going to put up a little poll, like whose was the most interesting or the fun, like who wins show and tell this week.
Mm.
And just thinking of little fun things to do that aren't serious or anything like that. And it's like, hey, just come in, have a chat, talk to some actual people, like
Mm.
have a laugh. And I've found it so beneficial. Like I look forward to it now every week. I can't wait to for Friday to roll around, not just to drink. The hangover was a bit hectic this week, but yeah, just to have that conversation with people. And like I said, it's not always people and always hang out with. So it
Mm.
really is like going to the pub and having a few knockoffs and meeting some new people. So
That's so
yeah,
cool.
I think it's awesome. That
How do you, for people who are listening, like how do you host that?
So just on Zoom on this
Yeah.
platform that we're on, I've got a little just a Facebook group that anyone can join, and we basically do it 6 o'clock. There's a page on my website, which is abeerwith.com, and you can go there. And there's one of the pages is Friday knockoffs, and it just explains what to do. You just set up a Zoom account. Then once you've done that, 6 o'clock. From then onwards, I think I fell asleep about 2
Mm.
last time. People kept going till about 6 in the morning.
Damn.
Some of the guys, so it goes for a while. People come in and out. It changes throughout the night. Like it's not always the same people talking. We sometimes have questions and we talk. We sort of. I usually give some people co-host sort of abilities and stuff, like give them permissions, and we can switch between and go to people and talk to them. And yeah, it's just a fun hangout, really. But yeah, you just go to the website, has all the instructions. There's a button there. Once I'm in the room, click on the button and it opens up. So really easy. And yeah, there's been some people who just like, oh, I don't know anyone in Brisbane. I'm from Melbourne. One of my mates just told me about this.
Mm.
So that was really cool. And then I ran into someone today at the bakery when I was getting lunch across the road from school, who was in one of the chats on Friday, who no, again, someone I have had on Facebook that I've never met in person. Now I've met him online in person and in the real world in person. So
Mm.
it's funny how things work out. But yeah, it's been um, really great, and I dreamt about that idea. Um, and I'd love to open up rooms, because you can have multiple rooms on this thing. I'd love to open up rooms where someone can run a trivia in one room, or like games, or and even have people make money off it. Have run like a meat tray raffle. Someone
Mm.
wants to do that, I let them do it. Like the pub, like a meat tray raffle, and then people can buy raffle tickets, and then whoever wins, it's a delivery company. Get local business involved. Have a meat tray from a local company that they can deliver to whoever it is. yeah, I'd love to get cool stuff like that, but it's just about sort of letting it grow naturally a bit, I think.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm real excited about it. It's so fun.
And did that idea, like you said, you've kind of dreamt about it. Did that idea come up before the pandemic, or did it come
No,
around?
no. One of the episodes I spoke to one of the guys, and he was like, "I'm excited to see what's next. Like, what's going to come out of this? Like, we've just sort of gone into this, and we're exploring all this technology that already exists, like Zoom. It's been around for ages.
Yeah.
Um, we haven't really used it to its full potential." And he's like, "I'm excited to see what happens. Like, how are we going to do? What new things are going to come up in terms of like gambling? There's no sport anymore. What are
Mm.
people going to gamble on? Are people going to find stupid random stuff to gamble on? Are we going to have like matchbox car races, or like all random stuff?" So that got me thinking, I think. And then I literally just had a dream, and then I was like going to the pub and having drinks and having a chat with people,
Yeah.
but from your room.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. So
That's good, man. And I spoke about it briefly the last time I came on your podcast, but that kind of gives me the same vibes as the live cast that I've been doing through Castbox,
yeah,
where we basically jump in and we have people all over the world. You can't see each other; it's purely just a radio kind of service, I guess. But one of my friends who's actually been going through, really tough time with everything that's been going on, I really wanted to catch up with him, and I wanted to kind of do something a bit creative and fun, so we didn't have to think about what's happening in the world and kind of just focus on that, which has kind of been a lot of conversations, as I'm sure you've noticed in the world right now.
yeah,
So we did an actual live quiz show, which is what we've been doing for a long time now, and we've built up like this really fun community on Castbox where we do a quiz and we have like a soundboard set up. We have all of these different game shows
that's
within the
awesome.
quiz. And we jumped on the other day and people were drinking with us, people were having an awesome time, and all of them thanked us so much that it gave them a bit of a break from what's happening in the world, and to not think about that for a period of time. So what I'm hearing is that you're trying to create the same thing and foster a very similar space
Yeah,
for people to kind
definitely.
of talk. And also, by the sounds of it as well, like people can jump in and they don't necessarily have to talk or engage. They can just listen, right? As well, if they join your Zoom
Yeah.
call.
Yeah, well, the first one we did, because I've only done two now, but the first one I did, we live streamed on Facebook. So if people want to just watch and chat in the Facebook, they can. If they
Mm.
don't have a webcam or they don't feel comfortable being in the group and that kind of stuff, they can do that as well and just watch on Facebook. I couldn't get it to live stream the last one, so I don't know if that's just to do with servers and things like that. I'm going to continue to keep trying to live stream it because I think that's also cool. People can just watch if they want. They don't have to necessarily be in here, but it's something else that's a bit of fun.
Mm.
Like we even recorded, one of the guys is Scottish, and so he was doing like impressions of Shrek. And because there's a lot of music producers in there, and like everyone's like, "I want to sample that. Like, can you do it again? Like, record it. Like, keep saying it." And he's like, so he was doing that, and so we were just laughing so hard at that kind of stuff.
Mm.
I put on an old gymnastics leotard from years ago that I only just fit into, and
Yeah.
modeled that on screen for everyone, which is a bit of a laugh. But yeah, it's just it's like you said, it's just sort of not talking about the stuff that we are seeing everywhere at the moment, and I think that's something that's really really important. And like you said, that human connection,
Mm.
it's different. Texting is different to looking at someone in the face, or even if it's across the internet like this. It's definitely different, I think. Have you
Definitely.
felt that?
100%, man. Like for me, working in the counseling space as well, and being very spiritual and kind of recognizing energy that shifts between people. Like even right now, I don't feel as like anxious being in a video call with you because I can't physically sense your energy. I can't see your nonverbal cues necessarily that
Yeah,
well. So I kind of feel really comfortable because I'm in my own space right now. Um, but that being said, like you will notice like a completely different energy shift when you're in the room with someone else across from them, right? And
yeah,
then again, like to take that back, if you're texting someone, you don't get any of that. So then you don't get really any sort of physical connection then. And like what we've been talking about right now, I think is more important than ever to have these kind of spaces, these safe spaces where we can openly talk about things, especially like you're saying through the video options as well. That's yeah, really important when we can't actually see each other in person. So yeah, I definitely do. I do notice the difference, and it's interesting. Just for my own reflection, just because like I find myself getting, everyone gets anxiety, everyone gets anxious about situations,
Yep.
and I still get anxious doing the podcast. Like I've done over 50 episodes now. I've done guest appearances on other podcasts, and I still get anxious here and there. Like it's
Mm.
still a different experience.
Yep.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is just it's interesting to be aware of it and to reflect on it. And for people out there who are potentially just focusing on texting their friends, I think maybe a really important thing is to try to reach out to them through a call or through video, because you have no idea what space they're in, and they potentially could really benefit from just talking to you. And that's something that I've extended to people out there. Like all of my socials are open for any of my viewers or any friends. So if anyone ever needs to talk or call, like that's something I guess I say I pride myself on. Like I could leave myself open because I know what it feels like to be isolated and have no friends and struggle. So for me, it's like I extend my hand out if anyone needs that time just to chat, because I know how hard it can be, especially when we're isolated and in lockdown.
Yeah. And who knew it was so easy and it works so well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything else like out there that's kind of creative that's going on at the moment? We spoke about these web chats and things. You guys are doing some stuff as well with like the quiz type stuff. Anything else you've noticed or seen that you've really loved or you've thought that's awesome out there?
I think what I've seen is just a lot of innovation, really, like things that were previously done face to face. We're now forced to do it over the internet for the most part. So just in terms of like my workplace, for example, a lot of them are now actually operating from home, and I'm noticing that the feed between the staff and the like higher management has actually been really well organized. Like we're receiving emails quite frequently with updates on what's happening. They've extended actually Zoom calls if people want to call in for meetings. And they've actually like really tried to innovate it and keep it as safe as possible. So that's something I've noticed directly in the workspace. But one thing I've really noticed is a lot of our guests that we've had on, a lot of them have basically just taken it to an online model. So it works quite well for people who are coaches, in the life coaching space or mentors. It also works well for people offering courses, um, and also workshops. I've noticed a lot of workshops have now gone to the online space, where they're either using Zoom or a type of video conferencing software to connect with people. So they're still basically offering their core service, which previously used to be a face to face or at an event. And they're basically just offering it online. So I guess that was something that I guess to me was kind of the obvious step. That makes the most sense. And I'm seeing other people really seeing the potential for this. Like for example, with me, like I've finished my counselling degree, and I've wanted to open an online counselling practice for a long time. And now that's something that I'm flirting with that concept. Basically, it's
It's
something
the
that I'm
time to
like,
do it now.
it's a perfect time to do it. Like people
Yeah.
need connection more than ever. They need help, and if I can offer that online at an affordable price, I would be really happy with that. So that's something I'm trying to flesh out, and I really want to kind of innovate that online counselling space. But yeah, just a lot of things have just been going online. That's the main thing I've noticed. I haven't really noticed anything like ridiculously innovative, just because I think it's still early days.
Hmm.
But I think over the next couple of months, as things like more and more people go into lockdown, I think, yeah, more innovations will come, and more. I think even more industries will open up. I think after this happens, there'll be new industries, maybe not more, but new industries that will
Yep.
open up from this.
And I think that's why I'm trying to sort of motivate people to, do new things and think about innovative ways of doing things, because it is that opportunity. Like it's right there. Everyone's sort of on a level playing field now. It's no longer that you need a building or a space or equipment and stuff. I mean, you do need equipment for online stuff, but if you've got a webcam and a mic,
Hmm.
you're pretty much on the same level as most people. You can teach yourself how to video edit, how to do graphic design. It's all online, it's available. We've all got time. Well, a lot of people have time now. So I think that's why I'm sort of trying to get a lot of people to sort of get in that mindset, because there is so much opportunity now. um, People are trying to, maybe businesses are trying to, cut costs and things. So maybe there's something that you can come up with that's an online model of what something that previously existed that can cut costs for them. And there you go, bang, you've just come up with a brilliant business idea for whatever it is.
Mm,
And you've got a market there of all these businesses that are looking to cut costs. So it's like, while there's a lot of things maybe disappearing or a lot of things that are going away, I think there is a lot of opportunity, even in existing spaces, for people to innovate and come up with, cool ideas and ways to maybe make a new business idea. So yeah, I
definitely.
think I
That's
think the
it.
online stuff's exciting.
And I think one thing that we can all pretty much agree on unanimously is that when things start to go back to normal or
Yeah,
typical, whatever normal and typical is,
yeah,
it will not be the same at all. It's going to be a completely different world. And like you said, there will be a period where people will potentially be really grateful for just the little things in life that they've missed out on. But then in turn, if people are in lockdown for over a month, which some countries are still in lockdown and it's been extended for 15 more days, they there's just so many kind of opportunities and it's really we said this before the pandemic, really, like the world we live in now with the internet, so many things are possible. And the thing, Eamon and I actually did an episode, it was like our 1 year celebration on how running a podcast will change your life, basically. And the thing that really stood out to me about that episode, and when I was reflecting on it and when I was even planning for it, is that podcasts have got the lowest kind of restriction, I guess you'd say, or the lowest point. It's the easiest point of entry, right? All
yeah,
you have to do is record on your phone. You could literally have your phone and record. Yes, it might not be the most amazing quality, but
yeah,
you don't have to worry about video. You don't have to worry about what you look like on camera. And like, I think now is an amazing time to start a podcast. Even if you're just reflecting on your experiences in lockdown, that's relatable content. People are all struggling over the world. And if that's all you can do, then that could be a really good way for you to also have like a bit of therapy, like reflection and talking your ideas out loud is it's such a powerful form of therapy. And if you can share that with people who are struggling as well, and potentially other people resonate with it, like this is a really amazing time to start a podcast if
yeah.
you've got that time at home.
You sound like
I,
Joe Rogan.
yeah,
Everyone should have a podcast.
I think
That's what
I
Rogan
think they
says.
should. Everyone should have a personal brand. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yes, it's tricky to kind of put yourself out on the internet, and we can go through all those conversations and
yeah.
but damn, I don't feel comfortable on the internet. Damn, I don't know what my voice sounds like. People have told me these things countless times, but
I still feel like that. I was reflecting on that today. It's like, people might see me or yourself and think, oh, they're so out there and they put themselves out there and, oh, it must just be how they are. It's like, no, I question everything I do every day.
uh,
Is that good
yeah,
enough? Is like, was that actually any good? Are people going to think I'm an idiot? Like, we
yeah,
all have these questions still, but I think it's just it's something you sort of have to work on, I guess. And like you guys are probably a couple of months ahead of me in terms of podcasts. I think I started a couple of weeks after you guys, like a
mm,
month or something after you guys. So it's interesting. We're sort of in that similar time frame, I think, for podcasting. But yeah, I would agree. I think it's a great thing to do, and you definitely learn a lot about yourself and get a lot of confidence as well, I think. So there's definitely a
definitely.
lot of things that you learn. So everyone start
Yeah,
a
that's
podcast.
exactly right. Yeah, and like another thing that I think is really important is people think about, well, this is out on the internet forever, and that's where that perfectionist mindset comes in, where you think, well, it has to be perfect because it's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
Now, if that's something that's kind of creeping into your mind, and if that's like a limiting belief that's potentially stopping you from publishing a podcast, one thing I would recommend, I mentioned it before, if you check out the app called Castbox, or you can download another one called Podbean. Both of them have live streaming services. So you can actually connect with people all over the world. And after the live cast ends, it then disappears. So it's never then available again after that point. And again, that could sound really daunting to people, but it also could maybe encourage people the fact that it won't then be out there forever. It's just I like to call it throwaway content. So I
Yeah.
connect with people in the moment. We have an amazing conversation, and then it's gone. It's recorded on my computer, but I don't share it again, so it's gone.
Yeah.
And for me, like that was actually where I made a lot of amazing connections and a lot of people who have like still continuously listened to the podcast because we've connected in this live forum. And I think even just for people who want to connect with other people in this tough time, that's something I've actually noticed. I'll tune into someone else's live cast, and you're just hearing other people, just everyday people, just talking about what they're going through. And to me, that's been amazing. That's really helped flesh out some ideas and connect with people when I felt a little bit isolated at home. So yeah, I think that's maybe another tool that could help people crush that perfectionist mindset, maybe.
Yeah, I actually like seeing the growth in podcasts too. I like seeing that, the first episode, oh, it was a bit shaky, a bit average, and then you look at them in a few months or whatever, a year or however long it is, and you're like, wow, like, you get to come along for the journey. I think that that's actually one of the real selling points for me on a podcast, is that you actually get to experience the journey of the podcaster or the podcast becoming better, and maybe growing and bigger guests or whatever it is. But I love that about podcasts as well. So
Definitely,
yeah,
yeah. And I think just because I'm trying to think about, I guess, people out there who maybe aren't on our level of just like, oh, let's just do it. Let's just chuck it out there. We're
yeah,
not thinking about it. We're not overthinking it. Um, but yeah, like that's really, I kind of just had a little bit of a blank there. But I think that's really important to recognize. Okay, that's what it is. To recognize that what you put out into the world doesn't have to be the end product, and that,
yeah,
again, crushing that perfectionist mindset. Like, flesh out the idea, of course. Don't just chuck pointless stuff
yeah,
onto the internet. I do not
yeah,
want more pointless stuff. There's
yeah,
already so much out there. So, like, flesh it out. But if you fixate on it, then you will probably never publish it. So, if you get it to a point that you're happy with it, you're proud of what you're going to be talking about, what you're thinking about, that's great. But the Meta Minds podcast, where we started to where we are now, is completely different. We've redefined what it actually means to have the Meta Minds podcast. We've changed the slogan, we've changed how the videos look, how we record. Everything's changed. The lighting setup, the table, the guests we have, that will change over time. I had no idea when I started where it would go. And like you said, the journey is actually the most enjoyable thing. If you're
yeah.
grateful along each step, it will be extremely rewarding. And I guarantee, yeah, it will change a lot of people's lives. So, like Joe Rogan said, start a podcast.
Start a podcast. Slogan for this episode is start a podcast.
Yes.
All right, let's go to some of these fun questions that we've been running with everyone. So you don't know, I don't tell anyone the questions, but we'll see what you come up with. So first one that I always hit people with is I'm single. So any date ideas for this in this social isolation world? Is there any ideas you've got for a first date? If you want to
Ooh,
ask a girl on a first date, how do you do it? Like, what do you do? It's hard.
that's a good question.
Hard being single in this isolation
Yeah,
times.
I was actually having that conversation with someone yesterday. It is
Yeah,
a hard time to be single. I
yeah,
think maybe a good isolation date plan could be to set up maybe a video call where you have candles set up, I guess, if you wanted to make it like a
or
dining setting.
romantic.
Yeah, you could just share dinner together and talk.
Yeah,
You could even do like similar to what you're doing, like a speed round of questions to get to know someone through like a video forum. But I
yeah,
think if you want to go for like more of a romantic thing, like you could both set up candles, you could both eat dinner separately but together and talk like you're on a dinner date. Or
yeah,
maybe you could even, like, there's a lot of software out there where you can actually both watch the same movie at the same time. So you could
yeah,
both actually have a movie streaming and you can both see each other's reactions on the video. I'm
yeah.
not going to be able to tell you what the name of the software is. There's lots of them out there, but you can both stream a movie together and watch something together, and afterwards reflect on the movie. That could be a cool idea, I guess. It's a tricky one
See,
though.
there's a business idea. Someone needs to come up with some cool app or some cool thing that allows you to do. And I suppose that's one already that you just said, watching a movie. But I'm sure there's got to be other things out
Mm,
there that you can do together virtually. So think about that. If anyone comes up with an idea, let me know.
yeah. Or you
The
could even,
best.
if you both have virtual reality headsets, which is
Ooh,
unlikely, you could maybe connect
now we're
through a
talking.
game together.
Yeah,
Who knows? I like the idea of the movie though. It's something that I've heard in the past, but it literally just came to me in the moment as you asked me that question.
yeah.
That could be a really good potential concept for a first date if you can both stream a movie
There we
together
go. Just
and
need to
react.
find someone to ask on a date now.
Yeah, perfect. That's the next step.
Yeah, yeah.
Manifest it, Jai. Manifest it.
Yeah. So next question in this these times of paper shortages and everything, are you a scruncher or a folder?
Oh,
Have you even thought about it? A lot of people say they haven't thought about it before.
I'm a scruncher for sure. I
Yeah.
probably should fold to be more conservative. Um,
You
yeah,
don't ever
yeah,
treat yourself to a fold?
yeah. I might treat myself to a fold tomorrow. Actually,
Yeah, test it out. Let me know how it
yeah. I'll
goes.
let you know. I'll comment on the video when it's
Yeah,
up.
cool. Um, All right, so this is the section that's like, what's in your bunker? So, is there anything at home that you've got heaps of that you're either stocked up on because you love it, or maybe you went to the shops and there was like nothing there, so you're like, I'm just gonna get this. Is there anything that you've got lots of in supply at your place?
Um, so there's a few things in terms of food. I've made sure I've tried to get a lot of veggies and do a lot of meals so that I can put them in the freezer.
Yep.
Made sure to get lots of toilet paper. One thing was to make sure, like all the kind of things that I guess you would think about, you'd hope people would think about, like body wash and shampoo and toilet. Tony said toilet paste, toothpaste. You do not want toilet paste, guys. Yeah, so that kind of stuff is the thing that I think I try to stock up on the most. But one thing I did stock up on was audiobooks, actually. I
Yeah.
There's a lot of credits to just stock up on. I think I've got like 8 different audiobooks now ready to go. That
Yeah.
was something I
Sweet.
stocked up on.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. You love your audiobooks, eh?
Yeah, I love them more than podcasts, oddly enough.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm sort of 50-50, I think. I like
Mm,
it when I wanna learn something real specific. I think a lot of podcasts I listen to are, like, a little bit fun as well. I think I
mm,
like some of them for a bit of fun. So then the next thing is, like, what do you not have much of in supply? Like, is there anything that you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna run out of that soon," or you don't really have lots of?
mm. Sanity? No. um, well, I guess on that same vein, like vegetables and fruit, like they don't really have a long shelf life. So
Mm,
I try to stock up on them and prepare lots of meals, but I've noticed I go through them quite quickly and then have to go and stock up on it again. And if we go into lockdown, I guess I don't know how that would work. But yeah, that's the kind of thing that seems to run down really, really quickly. Another
yeah.
thing is that I think I'm actually addicted to pistachio nuts.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, that's the thing that I go through way too quickly.
Yeah.
I eat like a pack in 2 days. So
Yeah.
that's something I need probably more of, or just to
You
cut
need to
down
stock
on.
up on it. You need to
Yeah,
stock up on them.
I need to hide them somewhere so I don't
Yeah.
just smash them down.
And so the next thing is then, what are you looking forward to most once this is all over? Whether it's an activity or if it's a food or anything like that, or a perspective, whatever you want.
Hmm.
What's the first thing you're gonna do, or what are you gonna look forward to the most?
There's a few things. Can I give you three?
Yeah, sure. There's no
Okay,
rules.
going to the gym for sure
Yep.
is something
Yeah.
I've really missed. Having guests in person on the podcast, which is what I've really missed, and then also just yeah, the potential counselling jobs that will be available after all of this happens, because I think a lot of counsellors will be needed, and
Yep.
they are already right now. But I think the
Yep.
potential for that space, for me to maybe innovate that space, is what I'm really excited about.
Yeah. Cool. That's a good one. And then, so you've sort of already given us a bit of this already, but the last question is always, what's something you can recommend to people, whether it's a book, a game, a movie? Because I always, as much as I speak about, we should be, people should be trying to do things and learn things. We need downtime. You need things to do, to sort of get away from things. Like we said, get away from the news and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So anything you can recommend, a book? You've already said the Superfans book.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
one's really good. Quite specific. I'll just load up my Audible library as I.
Here we go. Just you'll be able to give us a list. What are the 8 audiobooks that you've got there that you've got ready and loaded?
Yeah, how long have you got? So I've got Superfans. I've got Homo Deus, which I think is fascinating. It's the sequel from Homo Sapiens. It's
Okay,
basically a brief history of the future of humans.
cool.
Atomic Habits. I've got Never Split the Difference. Becoming Supernatural. I've got Richard Branson's book Finding My Virginity. Maps of Meaning by Jordan B. Peterson. Thinking Fast and Slow and the Power of Now. So they're the ones I've got. In terms of what I can recommend, it's really dependent on what you're into.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed a book called Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy.
Mhm.
He came on the podcast recently, and he's got a new book coming out in June called Personality Isn't Permanent. But I listened to Willpower Doesn't Work, and it was actually really powerful. Like, there's a lot in there that I've taken and really held on to. One of the things that I've taken a hold of a lot is actually this idea of a forcing function. So it's something that can actually force you to basically achieve what you want. So it's saying that willpower on its own, if you focus on that, you will fail. It's guaranteed. But if you change your environment and if you create forcing functions, like for example, working with someone else. That's a social kind of focus. So you're actually trying to work with someone else. So there's the kind of pressure of working socially. If you invest in something, that's a financial forcing function. So these kind of concepts I've really tried to implement into like habits that I'm trying to develop. If there's a forcing function in place, then it seems to work. But yeah, there's
I saw a little clip, I think, of him on, you guys did like a live podcast or something
yeah.
through Zoom. Yeah, because I think he was talking about, like you said, writing a book with someone else.
Mm.
And he had to, you have to do it.
Yeah,
sort of
he had
thing.
the social pressure, the
Yeah.
financial pressure, like status pressure. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So that's really stood out to me. There's just so many good things out there, so many good books, really. Like I can't, the ones I read out, they were really great. When it comes to games, like video games, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare
Yep.
and Rocket League on the Switch.
Yep.
Those two are quite nice to jump into and just kind of reset my mind, get me into a playful state.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say that. And what was
That's
the other thing?
heaps. You've given us
Yeah,
heaps.
that's heaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on. I'm excited to see some of, if you guys are going to be doing sort of podcasts. You said you're sort of using Zoom and stuff to do some now, are you?
Yeah, we've got a few backed up. So we've got, I think, 4 episodes shot. We've got 2 in person and then 2 on Zoom. So moving forward, we've got another guy coming on the podcast. Well, depends when this one is released for context, but in a week from now, we'll have a guy coming on the podcast. We're going to be doing a live stream with him. And amazingly enough, he's actually agreed to give away 10 of his new books. So I'm really excited about that. He's going to give that away through the podcast.
Yep.
And then, yeah, we'll see how we go, see what's happening. We've got to rebook in guests when things start settling.
Yeah, cool. Awesome, man. Well, like I said, thanks for coming on the show. Definitely everyone, I'll put all the, in the show notes about MetaMinds and all that, because I love watching you guys, on the podcast. You can go watch my episodes too. I've been on twice.
Yeah,
there's, I love it. So, and like I said, I think it's a good time for people maybe to think about some of the stuff you guys talk about in those, in your podcast. Because it's stuff you can probably, think about and maybe implement at the moment. So,
definitely, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me on, and echo the exact same thing to you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're crushing it as well, and you're, especially with this new stuff you're doing, like you're opening up a forum for people to connect in such a tough time. So that's really awesome.
Sweet. All right, cheers, man. Stay safe.
Thanks,
I'll talk
buddy.
to you next time. Bye. There we go, guys. Another episode in the bag. Thanks to Dan for coming on the show. I really always enjoy his outlook on things. And it was really great to get his perspective about what's going on at the moment and some tips from him on maybe things we can do to sort of help ourselves in this time. Make sure you check out everything that Dan does. I'll put links in the comments, but he's got the MetaMinds podcast, Dan's Tube TV, and his clothing label as well. So make sure you check him out there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all the videos. Go to the website, abeerwith.com. In there, you can actually check out the Friday knockoffs. It's got information on how you can join us for that video group chat every Friday starting at 6 p.m. All right, guys, that's it for this one. I will have another episode of A Beer With coming very soon, but that's it for this for now. So as always, I hope you're having a great day or night, wherever you are, and I'll see you guys soon for the next episode.